Good morning and welcome to Beyond the Contracts podcast. I'm your host, Maresa Morrow with Parks out of Murfreesboro, along with
your co-host, Jennifer Hart of Churchill Mortgage.
And today we have Jen Freeman with a new business, Gilded Grace Etiquette. Good morning, Jen. How are you?
Good morning, ladies. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely.
This is a first. Can we just say that you are a first repeat guest, and we are thrilled that is you. We are so thrilled.
I've got so many more ideas in my head.
Love it.
That's fantastic.
Love it.
Jen is the owner of Haunted Murfreesboro, and we are so... Not only is she a repeat, but she's a wonderful example of a small business owner in Murfreesboro on the square. Give us a quick update about Haunted Murfreesboro, and then we'll get into Gilded Grace.
Yes.
Well, Haunted Murfreesboro, we're still doing tours. It's still going really great. Sadly, I lost my lease on Maple Street. So I am now starting the tours at Milano's / Jack's place in the bar, so we can meet a little bit ahead of time. I've started this spooky story swap, so we can have some bites or some drinks before the tour, share some stories, and then we go on the tour at 7. Right now, I've just got one tour Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. And you can get tickets to that at hauntedmurfreesboro.com. And so we meet at Milano's, and then we just, do our thing on the square, and there's some new businesses that have popped up that are really interesting, some things that are opening up soon. And then, of course, our tried and true stories and our hauntings and all those fun things. So, it's still going great. I'm really enjoying it.
That's fantastic. And I want to encourage anyone, if you are not familiar with the businesses on the square, Jennifer and I did a 12 Days of Christmas video tour, which was so much fun. So much fun. And we learned about what's going on around the square. Getting out and seeing everything we need to do more of that. It was fantastic.
We will. There was even parts of it we didn't even get to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But give us the scoop on the Gilded Grace Etiquette. How did this come about?
Well, it came about. I recently joined the Women's Club of Murfreesboro, which is a wonderful organization, and they have this beautiful historic home right on College Street and Academy. And that's kind of what drew me in first was the house and the history of the club and how the women got their own money together and bought that beautiful clubhouse. So, as an event producer, my mind just kind of doesn't stop with ideas and stop working. So I thought, well, gosh, these ladies are old school, and I'm sure that they would appreciate, something old school as a fundraiser. So I pitched an idea to do an etiquette class series, and the ladies liked it a lot. And so we're still going to do that with the Women's Club, but we're just going to postpone it a bit because they felt like we needed to have a little bit more time to prepare. Meanwhile, the etiquette expert, this wonderful woman named Frances Arthur, she and I were like, gosh, well, let's do it anyway. So we decided to give it a whirl ourselves and give it a run before the Women's Club takes it on as a fundraiser. And so Frances is this incredible ballroom dance instructor and competitor. She's third in the nation right now, but she teaches at Dance Murfreesboro. So that's part of the etiquette class is learning, your basic waltz, rumba, East Coast swing, just, so you can show up at a wedding and be like the funnest guest, and know all the dances, slow dance or fast dance, or,
love it.
Know which fork to use, not to be on your phone during dinner, just, things like that. So, we created this platform basically or formula of how we're going to offer the classes to our guests, and that'll be 4 consecutive Thursdays, and that starts February the 29th. And then, the first 3 weeks will just be for the children. And then the last Thursday, we're going to have a kind of a like dinner dance so we can show the parents and guardians everything they've learned, and they can have dinner and dance with their kids, and maybe learn some things from them as well.
How exciting.
What a great idea.
I mean, that sounds fun. So I want to give a quick shout out to Dance Murfreesboro, fellow diplomat. Becky Lanham is the owner, so she's on my team this year. So I'll make sure to tell her I spoke with you. But also, what are the ages of the kids that are to enroll?
Well, we're kind of open to whatever. I think 5th grade through 12th grade is usually around that time that that the kids would do cotillion. I did it as a teenager, I guess a young teen, at Stones River Country Club when I was a kid.
Oh.
So, and it's still things that I use to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to share the information that we have, and just kind of share knowledge and have politeness taught to young adults, and so they can pass that on.
I truly believe every young person needs to go through an etiquette class to learn some very basic things. Even though our world is different, I still believe that there are a lot of those foundations that really everyone needs to know.
Well, and basic information, putting your napkin in your lap.
Right.
No, I mean, because even if you're not going to be dining with the queen, you may have an event that comes up with work, or you just don't know where life is going to take you, and you need to have some
and especially
basic
with these.
Oh, the phone situation. I just heard something not long ago, and it was talking about, even if you put your phone on silent, if that phone is on the table at dinner, it is sending a signal to the people you're dining with that something else could come up that's more important.
Exactly. That needs my attention.
And I have really caught myself after hearing that. Even if it's face down, it's there. And so I'm trying really hard.
And by the way, our phones are here so we can keep up with time.
Yeah, right.
Just putting that out there. Just putting that out there.
And also, it really builds confidence in people. Like, no matter what age you are, if you know what's expected of you, you're not going to go into a situation blindsided and unprepared and embarrassed, to have that confidence to walk into the room and to know where you're going to sit and to know which fork to use and to know how to dance or how to greet someone properly. It's just really, really important, I think.
Yeah.
There is. And, there's an event coming up at Motlow, the Great Shake, to where they teach children, young adults, how to shake your hand and look you in the eye and work a room. I'm volunteering for that. I'm super excited about it, to be in on that.
And I know what you're doing is going to serve, just like the handshake. What you're doing is going to serve young people in regards to interviews or the business interview process. There's a story. Somebody I have heard in my past had mentioned when they go to a lunch interview or a dinner interview, one of the things that he pays attention to is whether the individual seasons their food before ever tasting it, because that speaks volumes about that particular individual. Now, granted, whether that's an etiquette thing or whether that's just him, but there are definitely things that need to be
absolutely
be brought.
I know when I meet somebody, my 2 biggest pet peeves is looking me in the eye and putting your napkin in your lap.
Yeah,
that drives me crazy. And so my kids it's drilled in, and every once in a while they'll forget, but one little look from across the table and they're like, oh. But seeing.
Go ahead, Jen.
Well, so like our first week, like our class outline is the basics of good manners, doors, greeting peers and adults, thank you notes, being tactful, and what to wear. So that's like week 1.
That's a lot, and that's fantastic. You're covering all that.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah. Week 2, we're going to go into introductions. Who gets the most respect and introductions, shaking hands and remembering names, standing, topics for small talk, and asking people to dance, parties and special events, gifts, concert etiquette, and weddings.
Oh,
Nice.
And then the third week will be social graces, emotional intelligence, making people feel welcome, inviting people into the group and never let anyone sit alone.
oh,
That's
Who
big.
gets to sit, elderly and infirmed, handling rude people, and managing technology.
love that.
Yeah. And then our final week would be table manners, setting a table, being seated, what utensil place to use when, or utensil piece to use when, eating politely, table talk, managing problems at the table. And then after the classroom session of each week, we'll go into the dancing part. So they can feel confident with a slow dance or a fast dance. And like I said, maybe teach their parents some moves when they come for the dinner dance
I
at
love
that
it.
final Thursday there.
I feel like I need to sign up.
I know, I do too.
I need a refresher course on several of those items.
You mentioned a couple things that I find so fascinating, and I've noticed it, and it's not even necessarily all younger people, but sometimes I will get an email or some sort of correspondence, and the way it is written is if it's a text with, like an LOL or, something along those lines. And I know a lot of grammar, punctuation, even typing has changed over the years. How we used to be double spacing.
Oh, yeah.
When I took a typing class, you don't do that anymore. So it's just learning some basic things that I think are going to serve these young people very, very well. It will carry
I feel like
them.
I'm guilty of the text email. If I'm in a hurry.
I think a lot of people are. It's just becoming so common. But I'll be honest with you, sometimes, if there's an acronym, I don't even know what it is.
Well, that's true.
I have to ask my son.
We have to call Isaiah. What is that?
Yeah. But I love what you're doing. So, and we were talking earlier about some other things. And by the way, before we move on, share how to get tickets.
Yes. And where is it going to be held?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be held at Dance Murfreesboro, and that's on Middle Tennessee Boulevard.
Yes.
The website is gildedgraceetiquette.com, and that's where you can get tickets.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that is exciting. I mean, that's
And you've got some other things going on too.
What else?
Right? You're thinking all the time. I know. Anything specific that you want to share, or at this time, or?
I'm still going to launch my Sworn to Secrecy Supper Club, so I'm excited about that starting. That's going to be a series, completely different, but different chefs can come in and cook us dinner, showing a film during dinner, and then serving the food in the movie to the guests that are also watching the movie at the same time, and then have themed courses throughout the film. Again, Jack at Milano's is letting us team up with him, and Murfreesboro Little Theater will be a partner as well. So I hope to launch that in June, so we can, start with some family friendly films. That's a mouthful. And try to do maybe like a Harry Potter dinner, or Matilda, or Ratatouille, and then just get a little experience started like that. So I'm always thinking of fun stuff to do for us here in Murfreesboro. So we don't need to go to Nashville. We can stay right here.
Exactly.
Right.
That sounds like so much fun. You're so creative.
I know. And
you're so creative.
What a blessing to be brought to Murfreesboro, especially around that square. We are really, really thankful for you and what you're bringing to Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, Jen. We appreciate it so much, and can't wait to hear the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and be the repeat times infinity guest with all of your fantastic ideas that are coming out.
Please keep us posted.
I sure will. And I do want to give one more shout out to the Women's Club. That beautiful home is actually available for rentals. It's really moderately priced, and it's a beautiful home. It's 168 years old.
Wow.
And the women got together in 1916 with all
Wow.
their own money, none of their husband's money, and they bought that house.
That's
And it's
great
in the
history
Women's
to know
Club
around here.
clubhouse. I love it. Isn't that a
I
great
do,
story?
fantastic.
Now I'm going to have to check it out.
I mean, we're going to have to do a drive-by.
exactly. Might be worth having them on the podcast.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely the Women's
So.
Club of Murfreesboro. Well, Jen, thank you so much. We
Yes.
really appreciate you and can't wait to hear what's coming up next.
Thank you for coming back.
Thanks, ladies.